The integument is the outer covering that encloses the entire body. It includes the hair, skin, and nails, and is the largest and fastest growing organ of the human body. Full-grown human hair is divided into two parts, the hair root and the hair shaft. The hair root is the part of the hair located beneath the surface of the scalp, and the hair shaft is the portion of the hair that projects above the skin. Structures of the hair root. The main structure of the hair root are the follicles, bulb, papilla, erector, pila, muscle, and sebaceous gland. The follicle is the tube-like depression or pocket in the skin or scalp that contains the hair root. Hair follicles are distributed all over the body with the exception of the palms, hands, and the soles of the feet. The follicle extends downward from the epidermis, the outer layer of the skin, into the dermis, the inner layer of the skin, where it surrounds the dermal pila. It is not uncommon for more than one hair to grow from a single follicle. The hair bulb is the lowest area or part of the hair strand. It is the thickened club-shaped structure that forms the lower part of the hair root. The lower part of the hair bulb fits over and covers the dermal papilla. The dermal papilla, plural papillae, is a small cone-shaped elevation located at the base of the hair follicle that fits into the hair bulb. The dermal papilla contains the blood and nerve supplies that provide the nutrients needed for hair growth. The erector pili is a minute involuntary muscle fiber in the skin, inserted in the base of the hair follicle. Fear or cold causes it to contract, which makes the hair stand up straight, resulting in goosebumps. Sebaceous glands are the oil glands of the skin connected to the hair follicles. The sebaceous glands secrete an oily substance called sebum, which lubricates the hair and skin. The three main layers of the hair shaft are the cuticle, cortex, and medulla. The cuticle is the outermost layer of hair. It consists of a single, overlapping layer of transparent scale-like cells that overlap like a shingle on a roof. A healthy, compact cuticle layer is the hair's primary defense against damage. A lengthwise section of hair shows that although the cuticle scales overlap, each individual cuticle scale is attached to the cortex. These overlapping scales make the cuticle layer. When viewed in cross-section, the scales can be seen to overlap, but it is important to know that hair has only one cuticle layer. Swelling the hair raises the cuticle layer and opens the space between the scales, which allow liquids to penetrate. If there were more than one cuticle layer, then they were stacked on top of each other, nothing would be able to penetrate the hair. A healthy cuticle layer protects the hair from penetration and prevents damage to hair fibers. Oxidation hair colors, permanent waving solutions, and chemical hair relaxers must have an alkaline pH in order to penetrate the cuticle layer and reach their target within the cortex. The cortex is the middle layer of the hair. It is a fibrous protein core formed by elongated cells containing melanin pigment. About 90% of the total weight of hair comes from the cortex. The elasticity of the hair and its natural color are the result of the unique protein structures located within the cortex. The changes involved in oxidation hair coloring, wet setting, thermal styling, permanent waving, and chemical hair relaxing all take place within the cortex. The medulla is the innermost layer, sometimes referred to as the pith of the hair. It is composed of round cells. It is quite common for very fine and naturally blonde hair to entirely lack a medulla. Generally, only thick, coarse hair contains a medulla. All male beard hair contains a medulla. Beard hair is generally much coarser and not as uniform as hair from the head of the same individual. As far as cosmetology is concerned, the medulla is an empty airspace and is not involved in salon services. The chemical composition of hair. Hair is composed of protein that grows from cells originating within the hair follicle. This is where the hair shaft begins. As soon as these living cells form, they begin their journey upward through the hair follicle. They mature in a process known as keratinization. As these newly formed cells mature, they fill up with the fibrous protein called keratin, then move upward, lose their nucleus, and die. By the time the hair shaft emerges from the scalp, the cells of the hair are completely keratinized and are no longer living. The hair shaft that emerges from the scalp is no longer a non-living fiber composed of keratinized protein. Hair is approximately 91% protein. The protein is made up of long chains of amino acids, which in turn are made up of elements. The elements that make up human hair are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen, and sulfur. These five elements are also the major elements found in skin and nails and are often referred to as the COHNS elements. Carbon is 51% in the normal hair. Oxygen is 21% in a normal hair. Hydrogen is 6% in a normal hair. Nitrogen is 17% in a normal hair, and sulfur is 5% in a normal hair. The amino acids, the units of structure in protein, are linked together end to end by pop beads. The chemical bonds that join amino acids together to each other is called a peptide bond or end bond. A long chain of amino acids linked by peptide bonds is called a polypeptide chain. Polypeptide chains intertwine around each other in a spiral shape called a helix. The side bonds of the cortex. The cortex middle layer of the hair is made up of millions of polypeptide chains. These polypeptide chains are cross-linked together like a ladder by three different types of side bonds: hydrogen bonds, salt bonds, and disulfide bonds. These side bonds hold the hair fibers in place and account for the incredible strength and elasticity of human hair. These side bonds are essential to wet sets, thermal styling, permanent waving, and chemical hair relaxing. A hydrogen bond is a physical side bond that is easily broken by water or heat. Although individual hydrogen bonds are very weak, there are many of them that they account for about one-third of the hair's overall strength. A salt bond is also a physical bond, but it is broken by changes in pH. Salt bonds are easily broken by strong alkaline or acidic solutions and account for about one-third of the hair's overall strength. A disulfide bond is a chemical side bond that differs greatly from the kind of physical bonding seen in a hydrogen or salt bond. A disulfide bond joins the sulfur atoms of two neighboring cysteine amino acids to create cysteine. Although there are far fewer disulfide bonds than hydrogen or salt bonds, disulfide bonds are much stronger and account for about one-third of the hair's overall strength. Disulfide bonds are not broken by heat or water. Permanent waves and chemical hair relaxers change the shape of the hair by chemically changing the hair's disulfide bonds. Thiopermanent waves Thiopermanent waves break disulfide bonds, which are reformed by thioneutralizers. Hydroxide chemical hair relaxers break disulfide bonds, which are converted to lethionine bonds, where the relaxer is rinsed from the hair. The disulfide bonds that are broken by hydroxide relaxers are broken permanently and can never be reformed. Hair pigment. All natural hair color is the result of the pigment located within the cortex. Melanin is the tiny grains of pigment in the cortex that give natural color to the hair. The two different types of melanin are eumelanin and phosphomelanin. Eumelanin provides brown and black color to hair. Phosphomelanin provides natural hair colors from red and ginger to yellow blonde tones. All natural hair is the result of the ratio of eumelanin to phosphomelanin, along with the total number and size of pigment granules. Wave pattern. The wave pattern of the hair refers to the amount of movement in the hair strand and is described as straight, wavy, curly, or extremely curly. Wave pattern is the result of genetics and racial background. Although these are exceptions as a general rule, Asians tend to have extremely straight hair. Caucasians tend to have straight to wavy, and African Americans tend to have extremely curly hair. But straight, curly, and extremely curly hair occurs in all races. This means that anyone of any race or mixed race can have hair with varying degrees of curliness from straight to extremely curly. It is also that within races, individuals have hair with varying degrees of curliness. The wave pattern may also vary from strand to strand on the same person's head. It is not uncommon for an individual to have different amounts of curl in different areas of the head. Individuals with curly hair often have straighter hair in the crown and curlier hair in other areas. Several different theories seek to explain the cause of naturally curly hair, but there is no single definite answer and explain why some hair grows straight and other hair grows curly. The most common theory claims that the shape of the hair's cross-section determines the amount of curl. This theory states that hair with a round cross-section is straight, hair with an oval cross-section is wavy, and hair with a flat cross-section is curly. Although it is true that cross-sections of straight hair tend to be round and curlier hair tends to be more oval, modern microscopes have shown that a cross-section of hair can be almost any shape, including triangular, and that the shape of the cross-section does not always relate to the amount of curl. Although it is still only a theory, it is now believed that the natural curl is the result of one side of the hair strand growing faster than the other side. Since the side that grows faster is slightly longer than the slower growing side, tension within the hair strand causes the long side to curl around the short side. Hair that grows uniformly on both sides does not create tension and results in straight hair. The hair's wave pattern is independent of its other properties. Hair has different diameters from fine to coarse, regardless of its wave pattern. All hair, extremely straight to extremely curly, and everything in between, comes in different textures and densities. Straight hair. Straight hair can be any hair type without regard to texture or density. Like all other wave patterns, straight hair can be fine or coarse, dense or thin. Straight hair has a fairly regular and uniform diameter along a single strand. Cross sections of straight hair are usually round. Wavy hair. Cross sections of wavy hair are usually oval and have a fairly regular and uniform diameter along a single strand. Extremely curly hair grows in long, twisted spirals. Cross sections are highly oval and vary in shape and thickness along their length.